I've noticed in my career, like doing TCO and ROI analysis up front in part of a pre-sales effort, it is rarely ever consulted again. Like, I can't even count on one hand how many times someone said, "Hey, it's been 3 years. I want to look at the ROI and see if
No
what you
one.
promised me in the beginning is actually true."
Never.
It's kind of surprised me when it first started happening. I was like, "Oh, we're going to go do this exercise and then we're going to look and see if it actually worked out." But the second part never happened.
Well, why is that?
I have my own philosophy here. Like, I think number one is, what if you're wrong? No one wants to know the answer if you're wrong. So it's a really hard question to like ask, because if it comes back that you're not getting the return on investment, whose fault is it? I think that's one of the big underlying reasons why it doesn't happen.
Years later or 4 years later, like they move on.
People leave, and then you have a new exec that comes in and they want to establish themselves, and so they say that project's dead, we're going to bring in this new software and do it all over again, right? But I think it's partly because it's about saving face at the deepest, because why else wouldn't you do it? You know what I mean? Like, I would want to know if I made the right decision 3 years later. Not everybody does.
And there's likely going to be a renewal that's coming up at some point
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
3 to 5 year time frame.
Yep.
Especially these days, most folks are probably doing 1 to 2 year deals. So
Yeah. And I think if people are on top of their game, they're probably just going to not renew, and that's going to be the answer to the ROI question. You know what I mean? It's like they do that analysis on their own, they don't tell you, and then they just don't renew. And then when you ask them why, you get all kinds of answers, but the real reason is likely because they just didn't see the value in it.
yeah, I mean, ideally, that value is being shown on a daily or regular basis, and the customer
Yeah.
sees the value. That value is being reported to them, and there's this level of transparency. I think the future can be highly transparent, whereas like you see the value. If you buy a service or a product, you can see that value right there from the get-go. As soon as that either the users get deployed, as soon as the applications get connected to whatever source data, and you're seeing kind of the real value up front, and the application is showing you those behavioral metrics, or
Yeah.
in the case of the application, how the application is performing, and you can see that uplift. So
Well, that's an interesting idea. Look, how many SaaS companies out there have a little thing on the side that says, we've saved you X dollars since you started using this product, or we've made you X dollars since you started using this? I've never seen that, not even once. And now I'm wondering why, because that seems like a great way to showcase the value of the product. What do you think, Jeff? Is that something SaaS companies should just be up there in the admin console? Like, we've saved you this much money?
assuming you can calculate it, because usually the value engineering work that gets done is somewhat maybe a little bit of your own math, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to save the company money or grow revenue, it has to be connected to a data source that actually shows kind of how that being manifested. So I do think it's a fantastic exercise. I think people are going to be put through that pressure cooker regardless whether you have that built into the application or whether you have a separate exercise on the side, because CFOs and CEOs are under more pressure than ever to reduce spend, to reduce costs, to consolidate tools,
Yeah.
as well as to modernize kind of their tech stack, which will cause some churn, probably lots of churn of different tools.